talk to you basically about these two cars, the Bentley GT, Continental GT and the Bentley Continental Flying Spur. The GT, the coupe was released in 2003 and the Flying Spur shortly after in 2005. They were the first cars produced by Bentley under the new ownership of Volkswagen. Both fitted with a W12 66 twin turbo petrol engine, around 550 brake horsepower. We're going to do a little bit of a buyer's guide here on what to look for when buying one of these cars. We've had a few through the doors now, and we've also owned a few as a family personally. So we sort of know the ins and outs of them, what to look for, what not to look for. And it's been a while since we've had two equally marked cars as in the condition-wise, history-wise. So I thought we'd do a little video on what to look for when buying these, and also we'll be following the prices on these since they've come out, and they've gone down, and now they're on their way back up. So they've finished depreciation, and now they're depreciation. I've got the words wrong today. Finished depreciating, and now they're going back up in value, and that's what we like. We like them on their way back up, not on their way down. And at the minute in time to us, seem to be sensible money and the right time to buy. Starting off with the GT, let's say this is the first one produced before the Flying Spur. The coupe is came out in 03. You can't pick one of these up, an early car, for over 100,000 miles. Still today for sub £10,000. Granted, it might cost you £10,000 to get it back into a state where you'd want to be seen driving around it, that's for sure. So they are on the way back out. There's a few, like I say, still knocking around that, truthfully, I wouldn't want to touch with a barge pole. First sort of warning signs to look at from our point of view is the ownership of the car. What tyres are on it? What tyres are on it? Are they premium brand? Have they had money to buy the Pirellis or the Continentals that should be on it? What's the service history like, and what's the overall condition like? Bodywork wise, what to look for is normally the headlights would go a bit yellow and delaminate, as do the windows. We've happened to have picked two excellent condition cars that don't have these problems, but we're sort of pointing out where they would be. On the Milners, we've seen before, on these split rims, on the Milner spec cars, you would get a lot of corrosion around the wheel and delamination around the quarter lights and on the double glazed windows. Another sign is the indicators on the bottom of the wing mirrors. We've had them, and I've seen them a lot of times where these are hanging off, they've gone green, they're full of water, and they are quite expensive. I think they're about 150 quid-ish to replace, so that's another thing to look for. When buying a car like this, a Bentley, it's the same as buying a normal car. Bodywork wise, you'd look for heavy stone chipping to the front end. Again, not a problem here. Heavy swirl marks, burnt poo marks have been left under a tree. Scratches, the odd scratch you're going to get when things are washed over the years, are polished, normally sort of solves them out. Bad paintwork as well is still a common factor. Even on a car of this standard, you can get bad paintwork, you get anti-rash issues like that. All things that you look for in a normal car, it's the same rules apply here. Also remember, when viewing a car of this standard, of this mark, remember that when it was new, it was over £100,000. Even at, say, £50,000 to £20,000, the running costs are still the same as when they were new. Yes, they're not as bad and they have come down, and there's plenty of specialists these days now that you can get the parts for and can get them serviced that correctly without having that money, but there's still a running cost to premium to bear in mind there. One of the prime examples for that is, and we've seen this time and time again, is the air suspension. If they're parked up for a couple of days, is the air suspension dropping? Has it got a noisy compressor? And has it been looked after enough that you've got trust in that air suspension? A 60-litre W12 twin turbo engine does sound quite expensive. Granted, they are when they were new, but it's all about maintenance on that respect. Check the service history, check it's been done right. Granted, it doesn't always have to be main dealer. There's plenty of good specialists around. We've got one right here in the northeast as well that do look after these sort of cars. Test drives key on that. Make sure the engine's cooled, start it up, check for noises, check for rattles. It's common sense when it comes to that. You'd be able to tell because these are so silky smooth. But on a test drive, just make sure the power's there and they're nice and smooth. We've got plenty of torque, 550 brake horsepower. But once again, check the maintenance on them, check the service history's there, the stamps are all good. With any big car with plenty of power, it's always key to check the gearbox as well. Make sure to select the gears correctly as you want, park, neutral, reverse. And on a Bentley, when you're driving along, you don't normally feel the gear changes. They're normally seamless anyway. So if there's any sort of noise from the gearbox, you'd be able to tell. I'm just getting my priorities right here. I'm going to put the massage seat on because they're good. So that's on. It's a 2006, this one, with 51,914 miles currently on the clock. It'll be a little bit more by the time we get back to the to base. They're a 6-litre W12 twin turbo car. These and are crazy money. They're so cheap. They're such good value for money as well. And they're on the way back up now. This one is going to be, I think, about 14 to 18,000 is going to be the guide on this one. And we're just sort of going through what they like to drive and live with. And having them before, people always complain about their unreliability, but we've never really had one that's unreliable. You buy the right car, there's never any issues. You buy the one that's been maintained, it's got the service stamps in the book, and it's had the money spent on it. And it's maintenance more than anything on these sort of GTs, the Continentals, the Flying Spurs. It's maintenance more than anything. You buy the one that's got the full service history, you spend a little bit more money, and you buy one. The first thing that we look at on this sort of car is, the first thing we go to is we make sure it's got matching tyres all round. And to some people that sounds a little bit silly, but if you've got, like this one has, matching Pirelli P0s all the way around, all four are matching, you know that it hasn't been run on a budget. You understand that whoever's owned this car has had the money for the tyres. Sometimes you get them and they've got mismatched tyres all the way around, or you know, they're a low budget brand that you've never heard of, and it gives you this sort of telltale sign that the car's been run on a budget. And sometimes they were at a, you know, for a while these cars, and I'd seen them, they were sub £10,000 or 10 to 12 grand for what we would call a doggy car. People were buying them because they wanted to drive around in a Bentley, but they couldn't afford to run the car. And at 10, 12 grand, they got part-worn tyres, supermarket fuel, and you know, sometimes that is sort of the way of life. But with these, we tend to look for, like I say, premium brand tyres, full service history, whether it be main dealer or specialists. The specialists are sometimes just as expensive as main dealer. And like I say, we've just picked this one up from our local Rolls-Royce Bentley specialist there. Driving it now, you would never ever think at any point that you're driving a sort of sub 20 grand Bentley. There's no knocks, there's no rattles I can feel. The heated massage seat is working perfectly there. I've got heated and cooling seats. We've got massage seats in the rear and cooling seats in the rear, so heated and massage seats all the way around. It's keyless entry, it's push button start, it's soft closed doors on all four doors. The spec is unbelievable. Sunroof, leather headlining, no sagging to that. There's no wear on the wheel. You can see the dashboard here. There's nothing missing. There's no chips out of the wood. It's clearly been very well maintained. And if you are watching this video, if you, I think James will put a link in there to the walk around video of the outside of the car, you'll notice there's one or two stone chips here and there, but that's all you can fault this car for. It's clearly been well looked after. And driving it's an absolute joy. There's no noise. You've got double glazed windows there, no wind noise at all one touch. Just unbelievable thing for the money. I don't know what you can compare it to apart from an Audi diesel is the same price bracket, or a Mercedes S-Class. Granted, yes, a hell of a car for the money, but you are buying the badge, and I'd rather have the Bentley in all fairness, especially one like this. I know the running costs are still going to be Bentley running costs, but you know, they're not £5,000 for brakes anymore and things like that. Yes, a service is a couple £100, a few £100, £300-400 for a service, but again, you're paying the price for the premium brand. On tick over there, just lovely and smooth, no issues at all. That massage seat just, you know, it's gently relaxing me there. And as an everyday drive there, we're driving around Newcastle city centre here. It's just effortless. It's changing gear without noticing. You feel very content. I'm in a happy place. I'm in a good mood. Yes, we're not getting the best mile per gallon, but I will argue that nothing that's good on fuel is nice to drive. And I know I'll get a few keyboard warriors pipe up now and give us some grief for that, but I'll stand by it. I've never had a car that's good on fuel that I've enjoyed driving, and this is a joy to drive. I'm hitting potholes and speed bumps there, and there's not a rattle. The steering wheel's lovely and straight, and that 6-litre W12 just pushing along nicely with no effort whatsoever there.
we get into some D restriction in a minute, and I will give it a little bit of acceleration because they are just a joyous engine. And I know these Bentleys did get a bad reputation for a while, but again, the ones that were faulting, the ones that had the issue, fell into misuse. They fell into a shoestring budget, and that's the ones that cause the issues, and it sort of gave the rest of this GT a bad name. I've seen them before where they come in with 22-inch chrome wheels, limo tint all the way around, and if that's what you want for 10-12 grand, that's fair enough. But this is just another level of comfort in here. I'm going to do that, and we are town driving at the minute, so we'll get the mark gallon up there. It's not going to be good, is it? 15.4, and in a city centre, and I've only started, what was that, 2.4 miles ago. So 15.4 miles a gallon isn't actually that bad. That doesn't concern me at all. All the dials are lovely. All this is quite nice as well. There's no pixels missing. No noise whatsoever. Oh, that's a good noise. The engine makes a lovely note. You've got the comfort suspension there as well. You can adjust that how you want it. I think we'll have it in maximum comfort, I think. That's all the way to sport. Maximum comfort's where I want to be with that. We've got electric blinds, like I say, heated massage cooling seats, memory seats in the front, leather sunroof, electric blind, tilt and slide. We've got a rear blind that goes up and down as well. There is things to watch out for on this these Bentleys. This is just our opinion from experiences. Normally you'll see there's no lights on the dashboard there. Normally you see them with, I think it's the TPMS warning lights are normally quite a problem on these cars, and again I think that's just age more than anything. I've seen them before with quite a few engine management lights on, again tend to be down to sort of misuse. But when a car gets to that age, you know, at some point someone's lost, or various owners have lost, you know, a factory car like this now is way over £150,000. So it's sort of proof that somebody's had to lose some money at some point. They are going back up as well. Sort of end of last year, summertime to the end of last year, we saw them at sort of 10 to 14 grand quite easily. But on this mileage, on 51,000, it's about to be 52,000 miles in about 100 mile there. It will click on to 52,000 miles just being serviced, I think. And anywhere between 15 and 20,000 pounds, I don't really know what you compare it to. And I think of that, it is good value for money on that, if you bear in mind that you're still going to have the running costs of £120,000 car. It's never going to go away, even if it was £5,000. Your brake discs and pads and filters and things like that aren't going to be the same price as a Ford Fiesta, but it's a Bentley, not a Ford. Coming into the de-restricted zone here. The engine's nice and warm now. Come around there, it handles very, very well. We're going to give a bit of acceleration here. Oh, there we go. Some half throttle there. The pickup on that for a car that weighs, I don't know, over 2 tons. It's excellent. That's why you need a 6-litre twin turbo in your life. No problems at all with that. The brakes nice and straight as well. No vibrations on the brakes there. No juddering at all from the brake discs. Nice and sharp as well. On to the interior now. First thing that we check on the GTs is the headlining. They normally always sag. This one has the same issue. They do sag, they don't rip or tear, but it's a heavy headlining, and after a time the glue separates away from the leather. Other things to check you check the mileage, check the wear to the seats. The seats do wear a little bit, but they're not too bad for wears. There's other brands that wear sort of heavier, but there's no rips or tears in the leather. Make sure it looks right for the mileage, and more importantly, make sure all the electrics are working. That's where you tend to find any issues on these Bentleys, is the electrics. You want to check that the passenger footwell is nice and dry. We know there's some controller units in there, and they can get water ingress into the ECU boxes in there, and that does cause a lot of issues. Also make sure that all the windows are working, all the electrics, heated seats, that sort of thing.
They do have a common fault on these Bentleys for the TPMS lights. Always make sure the TPMS light isn't on the dashboard. It's normally well, it's a tyre pressure monitor, but it's not normally as simple as just putting some air in. Keyless entry cars, make sure the keyless entry works, and make sure that start-stop button is working as well. Also make sure the windows, let's say, go up and down. Normally we've had it before where the batteries can go a little bit low, the rear windows stop working, which stop the front windows from working. It's a simple reset of holding the windows down for 5 seconds and back up, so that's not normally the end of the world. Always check the condition of the batteries as well. They're not huge money to change, but it can cause problems when the batteries go flat. They're in the boot, and for instance on this Flying Spur, the boot is electronic. It opens like that, push button there or by the key. So when the battery goes flat, that can cause a lot of stress and aggro getting into the boot. You've got 2 batteries in these, one on each side. One of the auxiliary battery runs all the electronics, and the other is a starter battery. Again, not big money to change, but can cause some aggravation. Always check all your toys, as in your heated, cooling, massage seats. It's pointless having a car like this with selling points like that and they don't work. For instance, a Flying Spur, always make sure that the headrests go up and down when you're getting out of the car. Again, it can just be a bit of a nuisance that things like that aren't working. You're buying a car for the spec, and when they don't work, a little bit annoying. We think these are fabulous cars because the value for money that they're at now, like I say, we know the market quite well on watching them personally, and they are on their way back up. If you do want one of these cars like this, make sure you check the history, make sure you check the condition. You know, a couple of hours out of your day, just making sure the car is right. We get a lot through our doors here at WB & Sons, and again, auction cars, we do extensive videos, extensive research on the vehicles. We do try and drive them most of the time if we can, if the weather's right. You know, the past couple of months from many auctions we've heard, oh, it's an auction, there must be something wrong there. That's just not the case these days. If you have a look at our website, we'll detail it. There'll be hundreds of photos on there, 10-minute walk around videos. We check all the electrics out, and if there's something not working, we will tell you straight away. Thank you very much for watching our video on these Bentleys. I think everyone should own one of these at some point in their life. We've got 2 coming in our next sale. Go out there and buy yourself a Bentley.